Hi, welcome to today's video, which is not actually going to be on math, but on spelling. For many years, I've been dissatisfied with the way I'd been teaching spelling, and I'd been reading that for spelling to be authentic, it really needed to be individualized. Great, I believe it, but how on earth does one make that happen? I at least thought I was doing something a little bit better when my students would get 100% on the Monday pre-test. I would always give them words from the next grade level up, not the regular spelling program that my school uses, but alternative words. And so I felt that I was at least doing that, but I knew that that really probably wasn't the best method either. Things really changed for me this year, and my students and I have had so much fun with spelling this year, and it's because I made a grade level change. I've shared that with you before. I moved from 6th grade to 4th grade, and I'll never forget in June of last year when the curriculum coach was asking me what materials I needed for the next year. She was putting together her supply order list, and she said, "Denine, would you like me to order the spelling workbooks for you?" And I said, well, I've been reading for some years that spelling workbooks are really not the best way to teach spelling. And she said, mm-hmm. And I said, so really, why would I order the books then? And she said, that's a really good question. And I knew that I would have her support, which meant so much to me. So I did the brave thing and I said, then let's not order them. Now, what was I planning to do? I had no idea. But I knew that without those workbooks to fall back on, I would be forced to come up with or find another program, and I was willing to take that risk, and I have figured out the way that I love to teach spelling, and I can't wait to share that with you on another video. But today I'm going to teach you what I've been doing for the last 7 weeks in a 10-week program called the Nifty Thrifty 50. It was created by one of my favorite phonics experts. You may know of her. Her name is Patricia Cunningham. And over several years of research, she has come up with 50 words that she says if we teach these words and their patterns to our students, it will open up the doors for them to be able to teach hundreds of additional words. And I don't know of any workbook program that can make that claim. So I was very excited to find this program and start experimenting with it. She encourages that we do these 4 activities at least through the week. The first one being we display the words, and she encourages that to happen on a word wall. And if you don't have a word wall, it's something that we really need to have in all of our classrooms. University, I even have word walls in my university classrooms. They're essential to teaching for me. And there are many alternative ways to do word walls. I think I'll do a video on that on another time. But for me, I just have dedicated one of my whiteboards to being a word wall. Then on the second day, she encourages you to study the words and taking them apart in their roots and their affixes, prefixes and suffixes. Then on day 3, she encourages chanting and saying the words in rhythmic ways, spelling them out in rhythmic ways. Then on the 4th day, writing the words again, which is not in that 5 times each. Do you remember when we used to do that? Or I used to do that in my first years of teaching, write the words 5 times each. Not like that. But she has come up with this method of giving clues to the students until they can figure out what the word is and then say the word. And I'll share that with you in a little bit. And then she doesn't say really, I don't think, to give a test at the end of the week, but I do. And I don't feel guilty about it. I think it's a good way for me to assess. But I feel that we have done such rich work during the week that I'm okay giving that standard test on Fridays. So let me show you an example of the first 5 words in her Nifty Thrifty 50, and then I'll show you what I've been doing each week to get through our words. So her first word, one of the first words in the first 5 is richest. And we can say it has, a clue could be that it has a suffix that means the most of all. And on Teachers Pay Teachers, there are many resources, as I mentioned to you, but a lot of people have put the clues in Teachers Pay Teachers that you can just purchase for a nominal fee. I have found that I actually bought one, and it had about 5 words that are different than the words on that 16-page PDF that I mentioned to you, and I have no explanation for that, but I'm just sticking to the words that are on that 16-page PDF. So richest, encouragement, it has the root word courage, and it has both a suffix and a prefix, and it's something that we like to give to each other that is completely free. And then I'll say the word encouragement. And whenever I give the students the list without doing these clues, they don't like it. They really want the clues. I could even have them create their own clues. That would be something for me to look at for these last 4 weeks that I have with them. Now, this word was our favorite word of this week. And I have found that each week there's usually one word that becomes our favorite word. Because I learned from Patricia Cunningham something about this word that I knew nothing before. Maybe you already know this, but did you know that discovery has the root word of cover? And dis means not or un. So when we discover something, we are uncovering it. Did you know that? So exciting. Discovery. Impossible. This one, I like to say it has it has a set of double consonants right in the middle of it. It has both a suffix and a prefix, and it means I can't possibly do something. And then this one, I like to say it has the word pose in the middle of it, and it has a suffix of er. So those are your first 5 words that you'll work with. Now, I asked my wonderful husband, Stanley. He's still not ready to come be on screen with us, but I have him here. Hi, Stanley. Stanley on a stick. I'm so grateful for him for so many reasons. But I'm so thankful for the way he is supporting this project and helping you and me to be better teachers. Thank you, Stanley. But I asked him to create this for me, and this is on Teachers Pay Teachers if you find that it will be useful, but you absolutely don't need this to do Nifty Thrifty 50. There's a box on day 1 here. I do this all on day 1, where I give the word, and we talk about the word and nuances and meanings and roots of the word, and the suffixes and prefixes, of course. And then we look at the words within the words. And so I give the clue, they write the word, and then they come up with, and I do this with them, words within the words. And it's up to you if you want to use those 2-letter words like in and an. And they always find words within the words that I didn't see. So that's great fun. So that's day 1. Then day 2, you can have them practice writing out the words again on a whiteboard or something. And but this is what we focus on day 2 is the suffixes and prefixes and what they mean. And you can also, as the weeks progress, bring in suffixes and prefixes from previous weeks so that you're keeping those fresh in their mind and reviewing again their meanings. And then this is our favorite day of Nifty Thrifty 50, Wednesday, where we do the transfer words. And she gives you many, many transfer words where you take the suffixes and prefixes and add them to the words to create new words. And you can also bring in suffixes and prefixes, affixes from previous weeks to create new words. And, they'll come up with words that don't even exist. Like, I remember the week we had happiness, and Brandon said, "Is happyful a word?" And I said, well, it isn't, but it really should be. So sometimes we like to throw out the word happyful. Now, on Wednesday, they don't only create their transfer words, and we do this together, but they create their word list. And that's on the 3rd page of the packet. So I give them the clues, and they write down those 5 words. but then they choose 5 of their own words that they want to use for transfer words. And I encourage them to pick words that they don't know how to spell already and more challenging words. You know, if they try to choose, it's only happened a couple times where a couple students try to pick a word that they already know how to spell, like compose. And I nip that in the bud and say, no, this is not practicing of words we already know how to spell, but learning of new words and new patterns. So that takes place on Wednesday. And then on on Thursday, we take a practice test. And they do that with their spelling partners. And I do spelling partners every 2 weeks. I pass out cards like this, and they find their mate, and then that's their spelling partner for 2 weeks. And if their partner is ever not at school, then they just have to be adopted by another group. And I've trained them how to do that. And so whenever we do partner work, it's always with spelling partners. And I have them correct it, and I don't usually have them turn in their packets until Fridays, but you do want to make sure they've spelled those words correctly so that they're not practicing them incorrectly. And we take our practice tests when we can outdoors when the weather allows, because that word wall is up, and you know, it just helps them to not look at the word wall when we go outside. And during the pandemic, of course, we want to be outside as often as we can. In inclement weather, then we just do it inside, and I tell them to try to not look at that word wall, and if they do, no one's going to die. And then the spelling test also, we do it outside when we can, or just look away from the word wall. And the spelling test is administered this way. I give the first 5 words. Here's the spelling test paper. Using those clues, you know, I'll give the clue, then say the word, then move on. And I'll do that for the first 5 words. And then they find their spelling partner and give each other their test. And then even though I correct the test, I have them correct it themselves and write a score, and then I go and recorrect it because I want them to see how they did. And that's how we are moving through the Nifty Thrifty 50. And at the time that I'm giving this video, I'm hoping you have about 9 or 10 weeks left. It might be just enough time for you to get through the 50 words, or just try it for a few weeks and see how you like it. We're loving it. And I'm not worried about ending because we will go back to doing spelling the way we used to do, which we loved that as well. So I hope you'll give it a try, and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as we have been. And I'd like to close reminding you that you are enough. As you are enough, and giving you courage for the week ahead. Thank you for being here with me today. Goodbye.